Okay. Duane, I had a series of observations, actually, and some few questions to make today. Okay, I will start by giving you some rundown about of activities, not activities, some news uh, from Africa, and lately there's been a lot of turmoil in Africa, especially in South Africa, with xenophobic attacks. South Africans have waged a merciless war on their black brothers from the neighboring countries, Malawi, Zimbabwe, Tanzania, Kenya, Congo, and particularly Nigeria, for a lot of barbaric acts, burning people alive, destroying their businesses, business premises, killing in the most inhumane manner. And this has led to reprisals too against South Africans and other countries like in Nigeria, where the embassy was bombed and their ambassador was attacked on the highway by mobs of angry Nigerians. And so these things have been going. The outpouring of anger has really been terrible. And this boils down to one thing. It is material well-being, which the South Africans are surely, they think they're cheated out of it by what they consider the rapacious activities of foreigners who have taken over their jobs and further unleashed a lot of other things on them, like prostitution, drug abuse, and all the like. So you see, Duane, it is against this kind of backdrop that most Africans will come to the NuPresentation. So they think their economic and financial circumstances will get better. You see, and because they have been used to looking up to God. And so the NuPresentation must pass, I would say, through the stomachs of Africans, of most Africans, before it gets anywhere else. So, Duane, what is your appreciation of this African view from your universal position as a Numan? I don't know whether you have something to comment about this.
Well, I just wrote a group. I wrote several groups, but anyhow, this is all purposely instigated by the world controllers. It has been since day one. It's only ramped up now because of what we're doing on the real side, and they're very upset with us because there's a bigger picture coming through. And so it looks a particular way, doesn't it? It looks like, oh, just like what you said, oh, these people have lost their jobs because foreigners are coming in. You know, realistically, this foreigner thing in these different countries and languages is really kind of funny because we're all on the same planet, aren't we? Are we on different planets? And so here's the world all divided up. How did the world become all divided up? Well, you know, prior to all of this, these countries and whatever, was the world divided up? No, it wasn't. And so again, the instigators came here, the cabal, the reptilians, etc. They started all this. They started the different systems, and this is what we have today. Let's take the United States, the creation of the United States as an example, in which the indigenous people were here before. And this is, we're just looking at, you know, I wrote another group, 300 years, you know, at the most, and less than that, 300 years ago. And look at what has taken place. All right, so take a look just at the United States, what has taken place in the last, let's say, 300 years, and how the immigrants came over here. They were prompted to come over here and set things up. And there's no mistake that there was 13 colonies as an example. Those are the 13 families that ruled the world. That's why they like to put on a little show and keep that idea going, etc. So, and people were told that, you know, they could govern themselves. They were prompted and they were given ideas, etc., declarations and bills of rights and all this nonsense. And so little by little, and, you know, in just a very short time, it didn't take centuries or thousands of years. All of a sudden, here we are into a chaotic, totally poisoned world that's self-destroying itself. And, you know, you have standing armies, and the army's doing all the chemtrails and the HARP and everything else. And the CIA, you know, hiring these people to be instigators to where it looks normal, just like the storms and that, and what the ones we've seen with Puerto Rico and now the Bahamas, etc., all HARP generated, purposely done. California here and the rest of the world, the Amazon's on fire, and it's only going to get worse. I said this years ago, it's only going to get worse. Look at what has happened in the last couple of years. It's huge, and it's going to get worse because we're here, and especially on the real side. So these things look a particular way, but you know, the view is not what they can get from the new presentation. Again, people have been taught about what they can get. It's about what you can do and become aware of is the whole idea here. This is the new wave of the new presentation, and getting people to step up and see more than they ever have before instead of chasing the old ideas. Yeah, that's a lot, but all I can do is present it. All we can do is present it to the world. The world decides, but the world is wanting. It's always wanting something because it's taught. It's been taught to want things. And so it's about awareness, recognizing these things. We're not problem solvers. We're not therapists. It's about becoming more aware and making better choices. And so it's not about if a person's spiritual or good or religious or believes in God. It's none of those things either, because a lot of these so-called good people, and most of them, are working for the different agencies and flying the chemtrail planes and, you know, doing the HARP thing and creating Wi-Fi and all this other stuff, and in the music industry, working for Disneyland and doing all their subliminals. Yeah, these are the good people. Yeah. And so they don't really hire the bad people, but then again, they do. So what's going on in South Africa, that's excuse me, that's just, look at how radical it is. And look at Miriam, how she was, you know, things were stolen from her. These things are setups. Just like the shootings in the United States, you've got a set up world here. It's all set up. The weather is set up, the news media, the political stuff, the authoritarians, it's all a setup. It's not as it seems. It's made to look like, oh, we're having difficulties here. No, these things are instigated purposely for the most part. And whether they are or not, it's about awareness. Who's paying attention to that? So when people are, you know, when people come to me and ask certain questions, I bypass them and I just directly go to, you know, it's about becoming more aware, or stay restricted in the effect of the authoritarians. Again, we don't need these things, but people keep agreeing to them. They're afraid not to agree. So, yeah, this is a risk taker position. And so if they don't, they don't. And then it stays the same, but it only gets worse. It doesn't stay the same. It continues to get worse. And so, yes, we're all in the same world. And so who is paying attention? So these things that are happening in Africa or anywhere, people are making decisions. And, you know, they're usually easily bought off, just like Bill Gates and other people start to make a lot of money. Then the elite come in and buy them off. Otherwise, they threaten them to get rid of them or steal all their money. They just watch it, you know, accumulate, and then they step in and say, well, you know, be on our side, or we'll just take it all away from you. So again, people struggle. So fortunately, we're here. We show people how to become more aware. And then when it comes to getting something or having something in a person's life, yeah, they got to figure that out for themselves. It's not that God's going to rain on you. See, that's the old scam routine that the religious and etc. have created, that you're going to profit with everything you're doing. The business world was set up by the dark side. That's it. End of story. The Indians didn't have business. They didn't have government. They didn't have standing armies. The indigenous people, etc. No, they didn't need this nonsense. They didn't need cell phones. They didn't need computers. We have these things today because it's become agreeable, and we're thinking that it's a magic world and this will take care of everything. It's gotten worse. I have friends that are EMF sensitive and they can barely live here, and it's getting worse, especially with 5G. So it's about awareness and who has the courage to every moment step out there and let the world know. Because if you have any understanding of this at all, this is what this is all about. But it's a huge journey. More so, that's why most people go to religion and spiritual paths, because they want to be told what to do. They want to suck their thumb in the audience as they listen to the master on the stage. Fine. Those days are gone. They don't work anymore. You just go back into more unconscious lifetimes. It's really facing life. So again, take a look at these things, how they really are, and creatively step up. Or is your job important all the time? Everybody has a job, but you can refigure your life at any time. And so it's been hard on me to do it, but I have. And there's ways that people can get together and help each other. But that's something that they have to decide. But to many people, their personal life is so important to them as they watch the world burn, because there ain't going to be any more jobs anymore. There ain't going to be any more careers or investments or retirement securities, because the air is being depleted. The atmosphere is being destroyed purposely every day. And it can happen anytime. And all of a sudden, overnight things change. They can make more earthquakes, more hurricanes, whatever. They can do whatever they want. We're trying to offset this uh, by showing people how to become more aware. And there's a bigger picture coming too, that it's a heck of an adventure, but we'll see what happens with that. But again, the black holes in this galaxy are because people agree to the demise of their position here. That's why they're there. That's why there's black outer space. But you've been told it's something else. Well, you've been lied to by the authorities that control everybody. So who's going to step up and do something? Yeah, Charles, it's only going to get worse, unfortunately. You're just seeing the beginning right now. Yeah. Yeah, and this is where Atlantis and all these other civilizations self-destructed. You're seeing this one too, because it's all being instigated by the world controllers. They don't care. They just hop from planet to planet. They've already destroyed all these other planets here in this system. Now they're working on this one. So it's going to take a lot of brave individuals to step up and get real and get past their personal self to do something. So we'll see. Go ahead, Charles.
Okay, then. I wish most Africans could listen to you to know that all this is manipulation and that they are merely uh, cogs in the wheel of this manipulation. Okay, then. The next question has to do with the law of karma. Uh, Given the inexorable nature of the law of karma, or the law of cause and effect, do you think it is nonsensical or sensible to have a legal system with all the lawyers, the attorneys, the judges, and all the like? And but why do I say it? Because when I look at it carefully, I see that most of the people, they don't know about the real intent behind any human actions. Uh, and this real intent is not obvious to the ordinary man who looks at things only from a surface level. There's a very intriguing case which I want to use to illustrate this, and it concerns a 92-year-old German man who will go on trial in October, and who is charged with helping to murder 5,230 prisoners, many of them Jewish, at the Nazi concentration camps in World War II. So Bruno is accused of being an SS guard in the Stutthof concentration camp near Gdansk, in what is today Poland, and of being involved in the killings between August 1994 and April 1945. So Bruno had acknowledged his presence at the camp and said he knew that people were being pushed into gas chambers and that he had seen bodies being burned in the crematorium. However, he argued that this did not amount to any guilt on his part. So I begin to think, I say, well, life knows best, and life knows how to mete out rewards and punishment for them to the minutest detail, which may not be appreciated by ordinary man with his often than not botched legal system. So, what do you say, Duane? Because I look at it as maybe that the legal system is incapable of judging life, so it should be left to the law of karma. What is your opinion?
The legal system was created to protect the monarchy. That's why the legal system was created. But people were marketed into the idea. They were told that, oh, it's to protect you and solve situations so that, you know, there's supposedly less disruption, whatever the idea is. But the number one idea with the legal system is controlling others. It's not what it appears to be. Realistically, no, we don't need a legal system, but now you have a convoluted, manipulated, distorted, deceived society that, you know, they've been so rehearsed in all this nonsense that, you know, in a way it would seem that they do, but realistically they don't. There are other ways to do things, but because the law of cause and effect is always in effect. So it's not about that, but people can say, oh, look, he was a bad guy. He got arrested and that's his karma. Now he goes to prison. Well, see, this is how people see, you know, this is the modern day idea of one way of looking at it, the karma idea. And, but that's not it. And, you know, the law of karma is it seems like a curse and a blessing. Oh, you have good karma, oh, you have bad karma, whatever. And it's not really that either. These are just ideas and terms and more so assumptions and opinions that people have created about cause and effect. That's why I call it cause and effect, more so than just the law of karma. You know, because again, everybody has their idea of it, and they think they know, but really, we're in this situation to recognize the all is, and then there becomes none of that. We learn how to step aside, you might say, or become indifferent to the effects. Yes, the body still gets effects. You still deal with things, but in your awareness, you see that you don't need any of this. So again, the legal system, no, it's a joke, but we have to deal with it. Okay, so in certain instances, yes, and all the laws and the words, and you know, people learn these things and they can become very acute at it, and it all equals what? It really equals nothing. You know, the thing being is that the birds are still chirping and flying around. They're having a good time. I look at the seagulls on the beach. It's like, well, these guys have a great life. And I have a physical body, and all I do is struggle with it. And I watch other humans, purposely and giggling their way along, destroying the environment here, and could care less. And this is how the world is. And yes, now we have the legal system too, which is oppression. That's all it is. It's been created for that, so that people obey. And so, yes, this man's up for trial, but he's going to go through his situations, whether the legal system is there or not. But the legal system prompts itself up to look like something special, that it's doing a good deed. So in other words, we wouldn't need a legal system if the original knuckleheads that created all these systems didn't deceive everybody. But now we have all this deception, so now it seems as though we need a legal system. Gee, it only makes sense, doesn't it? And so again, you have distortion upon distortion upon distortion. And yes, because we have to deal with the system and certain things, if it's contracts with corporations or whatever, you hire a lawyer that's been trained to basically steal everything you have, but he's got to do it in a sneaky way to where it looks legal, doesn't he? Yeah, that's very real. And so he could be a nice guy. He could be a family man. Oh, whatever. Yeah, in his fine house and driving his nice car. But he's been trained to steal from others and distort things, and etc. That's how they've been trained, purposely trained. And it all comes from England and the bar. The lawyers here, as an example, they're still under the bar of England, under the Queen, see, under the monarchy that kidnaps children and destroys them. Yeah, this is the same people. So, it's not that I like or dislike the systems. The life that we have right now, right this moment, is what it is. That's real. You deal with it, you figure it out creatively or whatever. But what's so cool about what is being presented here is that now you don't have all this silly routines to go through. Now it's about becoming aware, and that is endless. And you have the opportunity to, step up and take part in something very real once you recognize it. So the new presentation is simply the first step, because it deals with the references, and then eventually be standing real with the real guides and the all is when you recognize that position. And so that's the best part. But yes, it's a lot to go through to get there, because you got that personal self you got to drag along that's so self-convinced about all the rules and regulations and nonsense that has gone through, all the indoctrination, that yes, we deal with it, but we don't have to be subject to it. There is a difference. But you got to figure that out. Go ahead, Charles.
Yeah, okay, then, thank you. We just have to cope with the legal system, no matter how it is. That is the life here.